welcome to Glitch Gems Live. I have a little friend here. Let's lower the music a bit. Woo. Hi everyone, I'm Jenn Schiffer. I'm the Director of Community at Glitch, and this is Puma Greg. He is also the Director of Community at Glitch. And welcome to Glitch Gems Live, and happy 2024. If you are new to the stream, or if you're watching this later on, this is a live stream, so I'll be interacting with the chat. We had at least one early bird there. Hey Thiago, welcome. And yeah, do you want to go back to work? He does all the community and support stuff while I'm doing the fun live stream stuff. Anyway, I want to make sure that I've got the right audio and looks like everything's good there. Let me know if things aren't working for you and I will adjust accordingly. It's been a couple of weeks since we've had the stream, and for those of you that have taken a break for the holiday, you know it's like when you come back and you're like, oh, I forgot to do everything. I forgot to write. I forgot how to code. I forgot how to turn on the microphone at the right time. So yeah, I think we're all in that same situation. We're readjusting back to normal life. I got my gamer fuel, my iced tea, in my ginormous glass. And let's dive into what has happened since we last chatted. So one, the year has changed. That's cool, that's exciting. I wanted to take some time to talk about setting intentions, because we've done that with the Glitch team through our Building Glitch movement, and also just for myself personally as a developer. And I would love to know what your intentions for the new year are. I tend to like treat my birthday as like my new year reset, but I'm a February baby, so normally the new year is when I start thinking about my intentions. So one of my intentions for the new year is to learn new skills, which is very easy to do when you work in web development because there are new things happening all of the time. I'm looking to, in terms of new skills, more like revisit things that I'd done a very long time ago, but a lot of things have changed. As we talk about other stuff that's going on at Glitch, I'm recently dove into CSS. A lot has changed since I last was making web pages full time. CSS has gotten a lot more mathematical, which I enjoy, and you can do a lot more with it. And so I've only kind of scratched the surface of that, and I'm hoping to continue doing that with the rest of y'all this month. Another new skill I'm hoping to get into is revisiting Python. There's a significant number of you that are using Python on Glitch, and I just want to help support that better. And also, I had always liked the language before 3.0 had come out. That's like how long ago I was doing Python. I'm just like hoping to jump back into that and helping enable, you know, better support for Python on Glitch. For those of you that don't know, those of you who do, we are building a new Glitch, so you can go to preview.glitch.com to see a preview of the new glitch.com site. And then also on the infrastructure side, we're doing a lot of work to get our containers up to date, which is why we've been deprecating older versions of Node. So thank you to all of you who have updated the projects that you needed to run to a new version of Node. But through this quarter, we're working towards getting Node up to date and potentially thinking about how we support other types of creations. And because we have a significant number of Python developers, that's definitely something that's on our mind, getting Python up to date. And so I kind of want to jump back into learning that. And yeah, so those are my intentions for new skills on web development. And then on the away from the computer screen, of course, I'm like always exploring new mediums for art, making watercolors, all of that. We have last year on Glitch, the 2023 edition, coming out soon. Thank you for all of your nominations. And I'm bringing that up now, one, so y'all know it's coming up soon, but also there were a couple of apps that had watercolor involved in it. So it's just cool to see that out in the wild and the intersection of art medium and digital medium. Casey's in the chat. Hello. Don't worry, you're not too late. I'm just talking about my intentions for 2024. My other intention, and this is something I've started doing like research on, and I think everyone kind of has been exploring, is enabling discovery. Both of the work that I'm doing, so sharing more what I'm making and writing. I haven't like done that in a while. But also on Glitch, we're thinking a lot about enabling discovery. The kind of ethos of Glitch is to enable everyone to create a friendly and safe web. That's kind of the ethos of Fastly broadly as well. And I think there's lots of ways to create, and based on what you want to build and like how you want to express yourself, what communities you feel like you're a part of, there are places for you to create there. The big problem that we've run into in the past year or two with the fragmentation of our centralized social media platforms is discovery. Decentralization is great for us as creators at a level where we can keep what we make and have some kind of control over how we curate and who we curate to. But then on the other side, we have to find the balance of how do we enable people to discover what we're creating. And that's like a question I get asked all the time. It's a question I'm always asking myself. So what if my intentions for the new year, and a huge intention for Glitch, just by the nature of what we've been trying to do with Glitch, is enabling discovery. Our community code jams that we have every month, and we only started a few months ago, a huge intention and objective for jams was to enable creation around a prompt and enable discovery of what you all are creating. And so, as I'll show you, the December jam is over. I'm going to be kicking off a new jam today, live on the stream. And you can go to the jams page and see and discover what everyone's been creating. And so that's just kind of like a tiny, like, micro project in the overall master plan of how to enable people to find cool stuff on the web without having to do a massive amount of work, because we're used to not having to do that massive amount of work. And also we want to do it in a way that is powered by the community. So go to preview.glitch.com. You can see the preview of our new site. Go to our forum at support.glitch.com to share your feedback, any bugs that you might find, even like any ideas that you have. Also, if you're interested in testing out new stuff, we have a testing group on the forum. We have like a little secret category where we share little things here and there, like try this out, tell us what you think before we put it out to the wider community. If you're interested in joining that, go to support.glitch.com and you can search testing group, or you can just post a thread and I'll point you in the right direction. We'll get you in there. We're testing out something pretty cool right now. We're not quite ready to share it out with the entire planet, but if you're watching right now, you can join if you don't know about it already. So that was my second intention, enabling discovery. And then my third intention is to minimize how much I'm rickrolled by the community. A sneak peek of the last year on Glitch Roundup. Every year we say how many times I've been rickrolled by the community. And I haven't actively tried to minimize how many times it happens, but I will say y'all are slipping this year. I think like last year it was, or 2022, it was like 10 times. And 2023, it was like down to around 6. So Thiago, if you're still in the chat, if you're still watching, you were a huge contributor. Thank you. But y'all need to step up your game. And that's a challenge. That's a challenge. But it's got to be in Glitch apps. Don't try to rickroll through abuse reports or support tickets. That doesn't count. It's got to be through Glitch apps. Let's leave the support folks with their tools to do the stuff that they gotta do. Keep with the Glitch apps. I'll take the hit. So yeah, those are my intentions so far for the year. I'd be interested to know what yours are. If you're interested in learning to code, If you're interested in starting a project or even revisiting a project you haven't finished to get back into it, let me know in the comments of the stream, on the forum, or you can even just email me, jen@glitch.com, and let me know. And that's Jen with 2 N's. 2 N's. Cool. So let's see. Let's jump into what else we want to talk about, and that's jams. So our second code jam, gift giving, closed out last month, and I figured I'll share what the submissions were. They're really cool. A lot of really interesting prompts, a couple of Rickrolls, very clever Rickrolls, and I had been working on my during the live stream, my own submission as I was learning WebSockets and the current state of WebSockets. Again, every time I'm doing like a jam, I'm like, I want to like learn something. Whenever I start a project, whether it's at work or personal, I find that the only way to feel good when I come to the conclusion, or a way to feel good enough to get me to the conclusion, is to set intentions for like, what do I learn? Who is like my audience? How do I want to use this when it's done? What does done look like? I don't kind of think too much about like, what does failure look like? Because for like projects, like jam projects, the failure is just that I didn't do anything. So even just like writing a little bit of code, or merely just remixing and changing the project description so I can revisit down the line to update it, is a success. So I don't want anyone to feel like there's failures when it comes to these code jams. But my intention for the gift giving code jam was to get up to speed in the state of WebSockets so I can help out with another project that's happening that we're working on, and also just to make something that was remotely related to gift. So if you don't know what that project was, you'll see it. I'm going to go through the playlist right now. The prompt for December was gift giving. And let's go through what your submissions were. Oh, look, Thiago's the first one that came up. Thiago is a regular in the forum and makes a lot of really cool projects, very good looking projects. And I shared this one as well. You're going to have to tap to start the game because this is an app that leads to a song that I can't share on stream. And also just surprises are the spice of life. I'm actually kidding. I like don't like surprises, but that one was cool. So thank you, Thiago. You get a thanks for your project. Let's see what other stuff we can share here. Glyph, open source text editor for the 21st century, coming soon. I always really admire Thiago's design sense. It's always really special when a developer makes really cool technology that also looks cool. Also, this cursor, this blob following the cursor, is very cool. Also, very ironic here, this Rickroll blocker. I maybe will check that out as part of my intention to minimize Rickrolling. But yeah, that's Thiago's app. Let's go next. Oh, this one's mine. Presents or bugs. This project was my submission, and the idea was that anybody that goes onto the page will have a cursor, and you can click to be a bug, or you can be a gift, a present. And the more presents, the happier. This is me, the emoji in the center here. But the more bugs, the more distressed that I am. So everyone that goes onto this page will have a cursor and can play around with that. Sean is in the chat, says it's a trap. I think they're talking about Thiago's project. Every app is a gift, not a trap. Anyway, that's me. I'm not going to thank myself. I don't think you can thank yourself on Glitch. Can you? Probably not. Let's see. Actually, I want to go back to that playlist. I think on my profile, which takes forever to load because I have a bajillion projects, I don't think you can thank yourself, but it says how many times I've been thanked. So thank you all for thanking me. I always appreciate that. Oh, while I have this gif of Vanilla and I from 5 million years ago when Glitch first came out here, this is a good reminder to please like and subscribe to this YouTube video so that you can get notifications of future live jams. And also, I like when I get likes. It's nice to be liked, right? Sue said that's why I have multiple accounts so I could thank myself. That's the way to go. That's the jam. Okay, let's go back to here. I restarted it and these playlists like show up randomly. So, okay, came up to mine. Let's move on to the next one. Another Rickrolled app. This is from Naoto. They made a gift giving app, a take on gift giving. It allows you to search Giphy and it will show an ASCII version of that. So let's see what I can enter here. What's a good GIF search? Oh, you know what? I like, let's see if they have any runner ducks. There's a runner duck running. It's hard to see. There we go. Runner ducks, Indian runner ducks, are ducks that look like they look like bowling pins and they will like run in a group, and they're my favorite. They're in my top 500 favorite animals, probably like top 10. So search Indian runner ducks. But yeah, thank you, Naoto. I'm gonna give you a thanks. I featured Naoto on the stream like a million times. They've made a lot of really, really cool stuff. Anonymous Thanksgiving. This comes from Khalil. Khalil's also like kind of like an OG glitch user. Let me make sure that this is muted because I think it's playing music I can't have on stream because copyright reasons. Anyway, Anonymous Thanksgiving is an app where you can anonymously thank somebody, and you can either do it from your location or you can choose a random one. And this is like really nice. I love like crowdsourcing thanks. And look, thanks Santa from the North or South Pole. I got my PS5. Like, congratulations, Anonymous, on your PS5. Anyway, this is a really cool app that uses Mapbox to map the globe, and you can scroll and circle around and see what the other thanks have been, and you can also submit your own. It will ask you your location. You can give it, or you can just choose somewhere on the planet. Like, I think I had done a thanks on one of the poles somewhere. But yeah, thank you, Khalil, for your contribution to the jam. It was very cool. The Rise says, I'm Glitch's unofficial lurker. Only time I come here is update Jen's Rickroll counter. In fact, I think that Khalil started the Rickroll counter. Yeah, we're both, or maybe I started it, but maybe they started it and included me. Yeah, tracking Jen being Rickrolled. Anyway, this has been tracked for quite some time because it's got the glitch button there. But yeah, thank you, Khalil. I'm glad that you're always lurking and creating. I appreciate that. HTTP Keanu from our own Sue, who is in the chat, the one with multiple accounts that thank themselves. HTTP Keanu helps you learn about status codes. If you've ever gone to a page and it said like 404, page not found, well, there's like a whole bunch of other codes. Of course, my favorite is 418. I'm a teapot. Yes, that's an official status code. Look at the Wikipedia page for it. We love tech jokes that are not punching down. So thank you, Sue, for your contribution. Sue works with me at Fastly. Say a little thank you. Yeah. I'm just gonna look at the rest of your projects. Sue's doing a lot of really cool stuff around learning how to use like Fastly. She's done a lot of work on making our starters really like joyful, pleasant, and easy to, do next steps. Uh, just a lot of really cool work. So if you really like the guided learning of our starters, and you want to see more of that, that's coming from Sue. And Sue says that my 2024 intention is to only use color names in CSS. I always say that I'm going to do that, and then I don't. So then I end up using CSS variables, which have been around for a while, but I only just got into like a year ago. So yeah. Thank you, Sue. I think I thanked you. Yes. Cool. Moving right along. Matthew Zucchini, the inventor of the zucchini. I'm kidding. I mean, I don't know. Probably not. Made an acrostic poem for Merry Christmas. More joy, everybody together, receive and give gifts. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Yuletide, Christmas tree, ho ho ho. Rest and relaxation, icicle, Santa, Tannenbaum. That's German for fir tree, by the way, and I don't know that because I'm German, because I'm not German. My last name's German, but I'm not German. It's a long story. But I looked up what Tannenbaum was when I first saw this app. And so, yeah, that is cool. Merry, Angels, and Scrooge. So thank you for your submission, Matthew Zucchini 1. You get a thank you. And yeah. What's next? Wow, a gift from your mom, Scott. I showed this on a previous stream. This is the gift chooser. When you click it, it suggests different gifts. Contrast is not great, but I'll highlight it so you can see. Like this is suggesting laptop, PS4, computer, dog, laptop, computer, PS5, PS4. I want a PS6. There's one that was like nothing is an option. Wait, there was a long one. Oh, I missed it. It was like box in a 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 box. Have you seen that trend on TikTok of people wrapping gifts in a way that it looks nothing like what the gift actually is? I saw somebody was gifting a pair of slippers, but they wrapped it to make it look like this large Stewie Griffin from Family Guy. I thought that was funny. Don't ever do that to me. But funny when it's done to other people. Let's give your mom Scott a thanks. There you go. Naoto's other contribution is this HTMX starter. HTMX is a framework, and Naoto makes lots of cool starters for all different kinds of frameworks, and so this was like a end of the month offering to the gift giving jam. And then we're back at Thiago's gift giving app. And that's it. Those are our submissions for the December gift giving jam. Thank you everyone for all of your awesome contributions. I appreciate you. Let's talk about the January prompt. We just deployed this literally in 20 minutes before I went live. It's January 5th already, but again, we were out for the holidays, and we're coming back and relearning how to code and write and use git commands and merge PRs and all that kind of fun stuff. But I'm very excited about this prompt. Our prompt is your dream default style sheet. So when you make a web page without any style, what do you see usually? White background, black text, Times New Roman text, blue links. Links that you had clicked already are purple. Paragraphs have a little bit of space in between them. The text spans the entire width of the page, even if you have a wide monitor. If you add a table, there's no borders. It's just like a table with content aligned around it. If you add an image, there's no spacing around, there's no border. if you put text after the image, the text creeps up next to the image because they are inline elements. So normally when you make a web page, as you've seen the stuff that I shared, none of those projects looked like that. There was some kind of styling. There was some custom font that somebody had added, or the background was dark, or there were borders around images. And they did that through CSS, through cascading style sheets. And I think a lot of us, myself included, have what we use as our default style, or CSS reset is the term most people use. For this month, we're imagining what the default style would be if you had control. If everyone created a web page and they hadn't yet added CSS, what should the page look like? And so this jam is a little bit different than the last couple of ones. Last couple of ones, it was like, make whatever you want. And you could still do that here. But this time, we created a starter app for you to get involved in crowdsourcing dream default style sheets. So what you're going to do is you're going to remix this project, which I'll show you, and only update the style.css file. As I said here, no editing the index.html, no adding classes or IDs, no adding files, absolutely no JavaScript. No JavaScript. And just use your imagination. I might be spoiling this, or I don't want to like put ideas into your heads, but I am excited to see how long it takes for someone to make a hot dog stand style sheet. And if you don't know what a hot dog stand is, search Windows hot dog stand. I've talked about it before here on the stream, and in literally every like avenue of conversation I've had with anybody, including a parent to a therapist. My endocrinologist knows about hot dog stand because I talk about it often. Anyway, not to plant that seed in your head, but the whole idea of this is expressing yourself through CSS, but you also want to make sure that it's accessible. So it's easy to do because this is a no JavaScript or editing HTML prompt, but you want to make sure that the contrast is good. You can actually read what's going on. You're not hiding things because of color changes and stuff, or changing the font size to be too small. The way that you're going to submit the project to the prompt is you're going to edit your project description to have the hashtags CodeJam and Dream CSS. And then that way I will see it and I will share your submissions with everybody as we've done in all the prior jam streams that we've done. This is the 8th one we've done. So yeah. Let's talk about the starter app. It's your dream default style sheet. If you click this, it will make you a fun little remix. Mine is Honey Heartbreaking Antimony. So what this project has is a bunch of HTML. Let me open it in a whole new window. This is the default style for a web page. As I mentioned, Times New Roman, white background, blue links. For links I've clicked before, they're purple. Are you surprised I've been to the Glitch forum before? I'm on it every day. Glitch Community Code Jams page. Here's the source for the project, the starter project, your Dream Default Style Sheet. But these are a various set of HTML elements, unstyled. This is what the browser decided. This is what your browser decided this should look like. Depending on what your browser is, it might show something different. But generally, this is like what these pages look like without any CSS. So it's all just content. And it's accessible. And it's fine. This is like, if you think this is beautiful, that can be your submission. No CSS is your default CSS. Actually, I wonder if anybody would consider that. But I, for one, prefer a little tweaks here and there to show that something is like my own style. Yeah, so if you're new to HTML, you might want to like look through and learn what all the elements are. I kind of walk through like, this is a navigation menu. It uses UL and LI elements nested within a nav element. If it's a link, those are ranked with an A or an anchor tag. I'm not going to read this entire page, but going through this page just kind of narrates all of the HTML elements that are on the page. I had gone on Mastodon and I asked my followers, well, I told them, hey, I'm making a starter page of unstyled HTML elements, and I want people to create their dream default style sheet. What are the elements that I should include? Because I want to include the standard ones, like I had list items, I had a table, but I'm like, what are like some cool ones that I can add? And one example was the details summary, which is a really cool interactive element that doesn't require JavaScript. You used to need JavaScript in order to do this, but now you can just do it in HTML, and you can use CSS to make it pretty. As I note here, these are great for spoilers or answers to questions on your webpage. We have our standard lists here, but someone told me about definition lists, which have been around for a while. This isn't fair. I don't think definition lists are new, but they're new to me. I've never used them before, and a number of people had suggested it, so I added it. And those include a DT or description title element with a DD or description details element. And this is good for listing definitions, character descriptions, etc. Tables. I am very good at HTML tables, and that's because I used to work a previous employer. My entire job was making tables happen with live data. And so I got very good at tables. And then I moved into working on HTML emails, which often use tables. But back in the day, people used to use tables to align their layouts, which isn't accessible. And so CSS, that's what you're supposed to be using for that. CSS has evolved to the point where it's actually harder to do stuff with a table than it is with styling, which is great. That's evolution. But we have a table here, and the default, has no borders, not a lot of spacing. This is a caption element, captioning the table. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what people do with this, because I have in my mind what I think a table should look like by default. And then I have some images. And again, I couldn't fit every HTML element in here. Like, I don't have video or media elements. There's like the picture element. But I did add a figure. And figures will have an image, a figure caption. This is our Jam mascot. And then a bonus element is the pre-tag. And so I'm just sharing this. I'm very proud of my ASCII art strawberry mascot. I love this little dude. I am going to set an intention to make a sticker of the ASCII strawberry for people. But one thing about CSS is you can make a pre-tag do really whatever. And this is just text displayed. This is pre-formatted. So when you put everything within a pre-tag, it keeps all the white space and everything. But one thing I had not really done and have to work on is making sure that I'm adding captions to them to make them more accessible, because you can only imagine what a screen reader would see this and list out every character. So this includes a caption, and it just says it's an ASCII art of the Glitch Community Code Jam's mascot, which doesn't have a name. If you have suggestions for the name of the strawberry mascot, let me know. We probably won't name it that because we don't really name things, but it'd be interesting to know what y'all think of when you see this little dude with a knife. It's a butter knife. It's safe. And then we have some form elements. Forms are the bane of most developers' existences. One, because they're very easy to make inaccessible once you add JavaScript to it, and even CSS if you make the contrast bad. There's so many different types of elements and attributes within elements. I kept this fairly simple by having a text input, a field set, because those kind of like look cool by default with some radio buttons, and a text area. Normally, and I'll use this remix and show you my default style sheet, and we'll work with that on the stream. Usually the text area is the first thing in a form that I have to style, because the fact that it's inline and like this tiny, I'm like, browsers, what are you doing? But yeah, and then you make it to the end of the page, which is a footer element. And yeah, that's that. So here I am on the source of this remix. The README file goes into what the jam is. I had asked my team and also my followers on Mastodon, what are your favorite CSS tools and resources? And they shared them. There are a lot of things like visual cheat sheets for layouts, a lot of like gradient builder options, which is really fun because what if the default background for the web was a cool cyan to magenta gradient background? You can explore that. I'm going to. So you don't have to use these tools. These are just to show you the power of CSS and maybe inspire you for what your dream default is going to be. Then I listed here literally every HTML element that is in the starter. Starting from HTML for all like the layout stuff. Some suggestions from the community was a nav element, which is this little thing right here, an aside. I think my aside is I attributed a quote to Santa Claus, and I said, actually, Santa Claus didn't say that. Here's an aside here. And you can see the aside has no styling, and in fact, it's kind of immediately flush with the text of the div element. So you can do a lot of really cool stuff with the sides, like make them like pull quote like almost. You can do a lot of fun stuff with the block quote element. Yeah. And yeah, Santa Claus did not say like this block quote, for example. Text elements, so we have our header elements, links, that details and summary element I showed you here, where the details is this section and the summary is down there. The different list elements, here's the table elements, the figures, that pre-tag is the ASCII strawberry, and for forms, the dreaded forms, we have that here. And these all link to MDN docs, so you can learn more about that element and you can kind of see what can be styled about it. For example, I never used the detail disclosure element before. I've seen them around and I've seen talks about them because they are often more accessible than the JavaScript built options that people made. So I've never like used them in practice before the starter. But here's some like fun styling. And if you want some inspiration, MDN has like these like little try editors here. And so this is the HTML. Everything's within details. Here's the summary. Oh, the summary is what shows, and then everything else is in the box. And they even suggest some CSS. So if you're like, I like how MDN styled that, you could just like copy that and paste it into the style sheet. And let's see. And here's my cool styled element. What is this error here? Expected to be That's not like a bug, it's just like a linting suggestion. Sometimes when you see like errors in the gutter of the editor, it doesn't necessarily mean your app's not working. It's just like some opinions sprinkled in with the linter there. But anyway, who doesn't love going from to Yeah, that's my style there. Let's see, what else? I'm trying to think of what other element I've not used before. The pre-tag I've used a ton of times because I've done a lot of like ASCII art. I don't think they have any. Oh, they changed the font size here. But here they've got some kind of like text poem in the shape of whatever this is. I don't know enough French. Uh, but MDN will talk about the different attributes. Now you can't edit the index.html as part of this, but it's still interesting to learn. They'll go into accessibility concerns. So here they are like, you want to have a caption. So this is within a figure element. You have the pre-tag and you have the fig caption. And that's literally how I have my strawberry. It's within the figure tag. Here's the pre-element. I set the ARIA labels for stuff already for you, so you don't have to edit anything. And then I have the fig caption. So that's cool. I love MDN. That's like my tried and true resource for when I want to look into like any HTML element, even JavaScript stuff. If I have to remember, am I writing proper JavaScript or is my PHP brain seeping in? And yeah, that's it. Again, I gotta give a huge bravo out to the Mastodon community for their suggestions on what elements should be included. I want to give a huge bravo to the Glitch team and the Mastodon community on their suggestions of these cool tools right here. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun with the gradient generators. I had a lot of fun. And actually, is this a default gradient? I mentioned going magenta to cyan. That's like where my brain goes to, and this also just happens to be what this one went to. What's cool is like you can create the gradient, and then it adds all the parameters to the URL, so you can share this with other people, so they can share those gradients. Yeah. Let's see, what other tools did I like? All these are cool. Oh, so Utopia FYI was something that a few people had suggested. They have a bunch of different calculators. So you can kind of like create spaces, test them out, and it will generate all the CSS for you. I've used, because of generators, the clamp function, but I can't tell you exactly what it is, but one of my intentions for doing this jam is for me to become more familiar with what those property options are. So, yeah, shouts out to everyone making these really cool tools. There's another one I wanted to share also. Oh, Josh Camo's gradient generator is really cool. In fact, everything Josh writes about, shouts out Josh. Everything they write about is really awesome. They make a lot of cool generators, and they also have a lot of really cool courses. Look at this following the cursor thing. Like, just like beautiful little joyful additions to the page. I'm going to Josh's website. Look at this. Like, shut the frick up. I like love this so much. And also this little like graphic. This is now a Josh Kumo fan stream. And like there's like this little like haptic click when you change the mode. I don't know if you can hear it. And you can turn it off if you want to. Anyway, all this like between Josh Kumo, Chris Coyer's CSS tricks, like all these like really like very like I want to use a word that's not too weird. I was gonna say delicious, but like I don't know, like I eat these like tips like fucking freaking potato chips. They're so good. So really like play around and like add like weird stuff. Again, make it accessible, but that won't be too hard to do because you're only using CSS. Anyway, that's the January prompt. Dive in, do a little CSS, put on some fun music, and make things like cool, make things like that look like your style. And also you can make a few different ones. Make ones for light mode, make one for dark mode, make one for sad mode, make one for happy mode, make one for Valentine's Day coming up, make one for my birthday coming up, make one for President's Day coming up. That would be interesting. Like, even kind of just like randomly think of like a thing around the house and make a style sheet that you're like, this is inspired by this. Like, this cobalt blue water bottle is this is my favorite color, by the way. Like, what would my default style sheet be if everyone on the web, their first initial like blank web page, had that color element in it somehow? I'm really excited to see what you all come up with. So yeah, we got a few minutes left, so let's start off with my jam submission. So I got Honey Heartbreaking Antimony, and I think what I want to do for my initial remix is I think I might make a few. I'm gonna, let's see. I'm going to call this one what would I call it? Of course, gosh, I got stuck on a naming thing. Neon Chaos. Okay. I love to, when I'm doing CSS, I like to split things up. One, by like doing layout stuff, and I can, you know, you can do comments in CSS. These are like, I always call these Java comments because I initially like learned about how to do comments in writing Java, but it's like kind of Java style. So you do like a slash and an asterisk, and you close with an asterisk and a slash. You don't have like these kind of comments like in JavaScript. So this is the only kind of comment in CSS, but it can be multi-line just like here. And normally I like to split my CSS by having like a reset. So if I wanted to make like everything have no padding or spacing, the asterisk is the wild card. It means everything. And you start with like having like margin 0, padding 0. And if I refresh it, like, because I don't have auto refresh on Glitch on right now, it gets rid of all the padding and space. So a lot of folks will have a reset to get rid of actually everything that the browser is deciding the style should be, and then they build upon that. Or you can just say, you know, I want everything to start off with a 10 pixel and 10 pixel padding and margin, and then you refresh, and this looks like a Word document. This looks like I started a paper in a Word document. So yeah, and then there's all different kinds of units that you can do, and you can search on MDN for CSS Units, and there's a values and units page that goes over what units are. And so PX is for pixels. These are absolute length units, so 1 pixel is always 1 pixel. You don't want to do like centimeters, millimeters, and inches and stuff because we're talking about screen and not print, but when you're working with print, you can do that. And if you plan on printing this, okay, but you probably want to look at the relative length units. EM is the font size of the parent element. This is where CSS for me gets really hard, is because there's so many kinds of units, and they get a lot more complicated, but they can be extremely useful when you want to make your web page responsive, which it's 2024. Like, if you don't want your web page to be responsive, like you just gotta do a little bit of work. And so these units, while there's a learning curve to understanding like what they actually do, once it like clicks with you, you'll be using them forever. They'll be very helpful. That's how I was when I started using EM units. So that's the font size of the parent in the case of typographical properties like font size, and also like width if it's the font element itself. But there's cool stuff like I like the idea of setting the size based on the viewport height. So if you want your web page to all fit on like your phone screen, but not have anybody have to scroll. You want things to be relative to the viewport height. These could be very useful. Here's some examples. MDN, I really like MDN's interactive editor. That's a fairly new introduction. I mean, a couple years ago, but still. And they'll have like all these examples. Then there's percentages. Percentages of the viewport. So play around with that. Like I can just change this. I usually have like margins and stuff relative to the font size. This is gonna be huge because 10 is like 10 times the font. So of course everything is like gonna be hard to find. But if I change it to 2, it'll be a little bit more reasonable. Now we're back to that. And that's relative to the font size. And you might, I think the default font size for a page is 16 pixels. So you might want to say that you want it to be 12, which you don't. That's very tiny. I like 12 used to be reasonable when our screens had smaller resolutions. And also 12 comes to mind because you think of 12-point font Times New Roman for writing documents. I did a lot of school and I like graded a lot of papers, so 12-point Times New Roman is etched into my brain in ways that I'll never recover from. But one way to test the default is changing the font and seeing, okay, so the font is a little bit larger than that. Also, different elements by default have different font sizes. So this header is much larger. And one way that you can check is, I'm using Firefox here, but you can do this in Chrome. You can right click and inspect an element, and DevTools, the inspector, will tell you what CSS rules are applying. And so this one is showing that in my style.css page, it is setting the margin and padding. Computed will go over what the actual values are at the pixel level. So I have it as 1EM and it's computed that to be, these are what the margins are. So I have rules for margin and padding, but you can do, like, you can get specific to like the bottom margin, the left margin, the right margin, and you can learn all about that on MDN. Let's see what's another one that's fun. You can either right click an element or you can go through the inspector. So I'm gonna look. Let's see. Fonts. This is in Firefox again, so the DevTools might be different, but it lets you test out the different parts of a tag. So for font, you can update the size, line height. I normally increase line height on my pages, just like maybe like 1.2 EM, just so there's a little bit more breathing room between the lines. You can turn on italics. You can use like EM tags in HTML, but because you can't edit the HTML in this prompt, you should use CSS, and you can set the font style to be italicized. So yeah, I think I've given you a bunch of stuff to do this month. In the next stream, we're actually going to get into my own submission to the prompts. Again, I'll probably do a few. And I can take any questions that you have about CSS. I would love for you to join and give me suggestions on what I could do, because I am not a CSS expert. But I have played around with it a lot, and I've styled a bunch of stuff. and I want to kind of try to do something different. What I'm going to do this week is I'm going to look for what my inspiration is going to be. I might look at a recipe book. I might look at some photos of recipes and see if I can style a page after like mac and cheese or something like that. Because I think that web pages should look more like delicious foods. That's my opinion. That's my dream, and that's the prompt, dream default style sheet. So go to glitch.com/jams, remix the starter app. By the end of the month, by the end of January, submit by adding code jam dream CSS, and we'll have a really nice collection of all these starters. And this is another intention that I'm setting, but wouldn't it be cool? This is to the glitch team if you're watching. Wouldn't it be cool if the new glitch enabled people to change the style to a community submitted default style sheet? I haven't talked to them about this, but it's one of the ideas swirling in my head. So it would be neat if like maybe your dream default style sheet became an option for a future glitch homepage. I don't know. That'd be neat. So yeah, it's just about an hour. I'm going to let you go off and think about what you want to create. I'm going to go do the same. Happy New Year. I hope that it is comfortable. It's full of learning new skills. It's helping you enable and be able to discover. And also, don't Rickroll me. I mean, you can. I'm going to try to stop it. But also step up your game, because again, y'all were down 4 points this year. And stay tuned, because last year on Glitch 2023, the winners, the honorable mentions have been chosen, and very soon it's going to be out in the world. I'm so excited for everybody to see the breadth of all the amazing creations on Glitch in the past year. But most importantly, I can't wait to see what we all create in 2024, especially this month. So I'll see you. Eat your vegetables, drink your water, write some CSS, and I'll see you on glitch.com.